News, words of warning, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Hello, everyone. Bront, CatHerder. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends, and I figured I would come in here and talk to you about some of the stuff that is going to be upcoming in the next week or so. Now, I don't have any specific forewarning on this, but these are some of the stuff that I kind of am feeling that's what's going on, some based off of stuff that they have announced and what's going on. So I've kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of a warning, things to watch out for, things to save up for, and things that you can certainly just go nuts on and do whatever you need to do. So without much further ado, let's start talking about some stuff. First of all, you can kind of see behind me, maybe not kind of not, we have this Deck of Fate. I don't know if we actually have an announcement yet on what the Deck of Fate is going to do, other than it might be involving souls. But if it is not going to be a 2x souls, unless you are a spender, you probably do not want to be spending your souls on this. Why? Well, you can get the crafting materials, which are great, and honestly relics are actually good, and those relics in this event are actually pretty solid, and new relics and better relics are certainly a good thing to be going for. That said, relics are still going to be random, so that would be like doing a Deck of Fate for shards, except for you're getting relics as opposed to champions, and that's probably not something you would be doing a Deck of Fate for in most cases. So unless you have so many souls, or you're a spender where you need to get the souls anyway because you just pulled a champion you want to pull, this is probably not a very free-to-play friendly, accessible event. It does depend on what else is going to be in there. Generally, Deck and Fates involve at least 2 different options of ways to earn some points, so there might be something interesting. For example, I believe Champion Chase should be finishing up soon, so maybe there might be Champion Chase, maybe Dungeon Divers. For example, we don't actually have a Dungeon Divers at the moment, so maybe there might be some dungeon diving in there as well. And I'm not saying don't do anything at all, don't avoid it, but I don't think pulling shards or pulling soul stones is going to be worthwhile for this event, because honestly, I think you're better off saving those, because I suspect towards the end of this event, and it might be at the end of this Chaos Awakes first part and then towards the second part, there will be some kind of Deck of Fate soul-based event that can get you a champion. They have had one for Freya, and they had one, I don't remember who they had it for. I think they had it for the Knave of Hearts was who they had it for. That's right. So one of these champions should eventually be available for free if you save your souls. Now you're going to need an awful lot of souls. And here, if we look at my free to play here, I've actually got 5 of these medium boys saved up and 23 of those little boys. I generally have not been saving souls on this account because I've needed souls so badly. It has made more sense for me to just yeet them when I can. I have started saving them up for some kind of worthwhile event, and a chance to get a free extra champion is certainly a worthwhile event on this account, especially if I can get close. So I'm saving up. That said, I probably am not going to get there on this free to play because I've not been saving up for ages. On my main, I've got almost 30 of these bad boys, and it's probably going to take about 50 of them to get all 40 of the cards off. So yeah, this is probably not going to be enough, which is fine. You can get other rewards from there as well. And if you want Mave fragments, you can certainly take the fragments and then turn them into mod fragments, I should say, not Mave. So there's some options there as well. Or you save these things up and you wait for a 2x chance to get some better souls, or maybe you just wait for some better champions. That's the other thing I'm kind of waiting for, is I've got souls on most of my important champions. I certainly would like better souls, but without knowing some of the future champions I will have on this account, pulling more soul stones has felt like something I've kind of wanted to hold off on. So do be aware that this is something that might be tempting for you, but unless you are absolutely spending and wailing out for these soul stones, you probably want to hold off, because you're going to want to make sure you get the free champion instead, or at least pull these on a 2x chance to get better souls, which is a better place and better use of those resources. Also, I have mentioned this a couple times, but you generally have weekday shard events, and they're usually pretty easy to ignore. Oftentimes during a CVC, even on this account, I might go in for a progressive chance and just pull 3 ancients on the offhand chance I get one of the progressive champions I'm looking for. But generally, outside of pulling 3 ancients for something like CVC during a progressive when it's not really important, save your shards. This weekend is going to be a 2x void. And while these champions are certainly these ones are not as interesting as they could be. I like Venus. I don't mind Supreme Kale, but there are better ways to get champions. And for an early game account, account such as this one here, 2x voids is so special to pull for. Now, for a late game account, especially if you track your mercy, pulling for some of these progressive champions for a chance to get a champion you really care about can be huge. And honestly, you know, a Kemptum, great champion. If you don't have an Kemptum, this might be worth pulling a few shards for. And Urgrim, great champion as well. Both of these are outstanding poison champions, can help a lot of accounts, but they're probably not worth pulling on this particular account. I've got 34 voids. I am hoping that I can get up to maybe 40 by the time we actually get to this next weekend, but it should be 2x voids, and those voids should be part of a summon rush or some other path event that I suspect we will have this weekend that will also be a champion chase style event, because that's generally what you get with a void shard event. Finally, do be aware we are approaching the very end of the Demon Slayer event. There have been a total of, including the events that are going on right now, a total of I think 1,050 points worth of events. I have missed 40 or 50 points of one of them with the spider event that I did not do. And on this particular account here, I have not done. So I'm missing 50 from the spider, and I'm missing these 40 right here that I'm actually close to grabbing. As you can see here, I've got 15 hours left. By the time this video goes live, this will have been over. If you are still going for these souls, you do need to be aware that you've got only 750 points left as of the moment you're probably watching this video to get points on this Demon Slayer event here that we've got for a week or so. So if you're going for this level 5 soul, count how many points you're missing and pay attention to it. Now, I'm in good shape on my free to play to make it, particularly because I have only missed 50 points. And I'm not planning on missing the next summoning event, which is going to be during the 2x voids as well. So I know I should be mostly safe to miss up to 200 additional points going forward, which means I might be able to miss something like a Dungeon Divers event. Or again, as I talked about, maybe skipping this Deck of Fate. Depending on how many points are in that Deck of Fate, I might be able to just flat out skip it on this account, or maybe just kind of do it minimally and get a few points here or there. So looking forward for what type of events you can do, and just tracking what you're doing can help you get the cool stuff you want. The other thing that's kind of nice is there's going to be 750 points left after today. Well, that means that if you didn't do any of these points, which honestly is really hard to have done none of them so far, you can still get these 600 points and get the 3-star soul and soul. That's not bad. These rewards are not too horrible. Even this thing's not too bad. It's nice to at the very least, this is at least a 2-star chicken for relics, the equivalent there. Basalt, I think is what they're called. You know, definitely worth going for. And if you can get yourself to milestone 4 here, get yourself a legendary one, that is absolutely amazing. I do recommend getting this one as well if you can. And you know, the extra souls, at the worst case scenario, you don't have stolen, you don't like them, you can sell the 1-star soul and hope you get them later on for the 3-star soul. Another thing to be aware of is, much like the spider tournament we had before, the dragon tournament is going to be limited accessibility as well. So this one's going to be using this faction only from demon spawn. So do keep that in mind. That is going to also be very limiting for accounts like mine, where I don't have a lot of demon spawn that I can really run in dragon. Now, I probably could build a dragon 20 team with just demon spawn, but I don't have a lot of them. I've got one really good champion in Tyrant, who honestly will do pretty well in Dragon. And then I've got Dur the Hungerer, and then it's not much else in my demon spawn at the moment. So yeah, this Dragon tournament's going to be difficult for me, and probably about 50 one of these tokens as well. So that's another miss for me, and I'm going to have to track these things as well. So the other good news from this, however, is oftentimes with these Titan events, and something to think about as well, is the end of these Titan events often have there's often a fusion prep event that will sometimes line up with these things as well. Does that mean we're going to have a fusion announced next week? Well, there's a good possibility that we will have a fusion announced next week that will then go live the next day. So we have 1 week and 1 day till this ends. So this is going to end on Monday of next week. And that means that's a good time for them to start a brand new fusion. They've been starting an awful lot of these fusions on Monday. So I would expect for having a new fusion announced next week. That means you may want to look about saving your resources if you think this next fusion is going to be absolutely killer. There is, however, a good chance that this is a possibly very easily to miss fusion, because they don't often have the bangers back to back to back to back. We've had a couple of really good bangers so far. Tholan's been a very good champion. Fabian's very, very good champion. Esme, not too bad. And then we've had 2 others, including Ishiyama, who's just kind of okay. Not horrible, but, if you need that type of champion, he's certainly going to help you out a little bit, but definitely not a must-fuse champion. So I'm hoping that we might have a nice champion that might be the type of champion you can take a break from if you're not doing a main spending account where you're going to get those guys anyway. It also means that we are likely going to be doing a non-fragment fusion. So it's going to probably be a crossover fusion. So it's going to be the type where we will be able to do a fusion like this, where you will do fragments. A hybrid fusion is what they're called. So you will have fragments for 4 epics, and then you will fuse them into a legendary champion. So do keep that in mind. Those tend to be kind of difficult because you can only pull the epic, and there's a good chance the epic is probably, well, the epic might be void actually, because they're going to have 2x voids running into this. So it would probably be a void epic, which means you're going to struggle to pull them out of normal shards, and you're not going to pull them during whatever 2x happens to happen during that next event. Now, I don't know this for sure. This is all speculation on my part because I am not a member of the content creator community. Well, that's not true. I'm a member of the content creator community. I am not a member of the content creation program. So I do not have advanced knowledge on any of this stuff. This is just kind of my feeling for knowing the cadence that Polarium does plan on these things. And I just want to make sure that you guys are prepared and ready to go for something like that. So as far as how I'm going to be handling it on my free-to-play at least, I am going to be keeping some of these gems. Now, to be fair, I can probably generate somewhere between 400 to 500 gems a week, in between having the mine plus clan boss plus doing other stuff as well. It really does depend. Sometimes having CVC helps quite a bit. Doing some of the events certainly gets you some additional gems, but I will probably be spending some of these gems on finishing up building some of the champions on my account. I will probably actually hold off really pushing for a champion chase until the next, or champion training, until the next champion training event. And if that means that, hey, maybe this event down here, the Demonic Deck of Fate, includes some champion training, which seems somewhat likely, either that or dungeon divers, well then, maybe I will push a little harder into that and get a couple of those things flipped, because maybe I can get a few extra Titan points and make it a little bit easier on this account, or maybe even get a few extra of these forged materials, which don't suck. So hey, that's just me kind of looking forward and, wanting to give you guys a little bit of warning on some of the stuff I suspect will be coming up in Raid Shadow Legends. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. What do you think is going to be coming up as well? Maybe by the time I drop this video, it will already had new news released that will make this outdated. And if that's the case, that's fine. But otherwise, you guys have a wonderful week. Have a great day. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I really do appreciate you guys, and until the next video, I am Bront CatHerder.